I made my ex think his PlayStation had connection issues for calling me names. So this happened when I was 20 and dating this guy named Trevor. He was fine most of the time, but when he'd have a few beers with his buddies online, he'd start calling me names. Like, he'd lose a round in whatever shooter game he was playing and suddenly, I'm a bitch for asking if he wanted dinner. Or I'd walk past the TV and he'd tell me to move my fat ass even though I wasn't blocking anything. The first few times it happened, I tried talking to him about it. He'd apologize the next day, say he didn't mean it, blame it on getting too into the game. But it kept happening. Every Friday and Saturday night like clockwork. One night he called me a dumb bitch because I asked him to turn the volume down at like 11 p.m. I was trying to sleep because I had work in the morning and he's screaming into his headset about some camper in Warzone. I just snapped. Not out loud or anything. I just decided right then that if he was gonna call me a bitch, I might as well earn the title. I grabbed my phone and opened the Wi-Fi settings. Our router had this app where you could see every device connected to it. I clicked on his PlayStation and hit disconnect. Just like that. His game froze mid-match and he started freaking out. Bro, I just got disconnected, he yelled into his mic. Hold on, let me check the internet. I watched him get up and walk over to the router, unplugging it and plugging it back in. His phone was still working fine. My laptop was streaming Netflix with no issues. He was so confused. While he was messing with the router, I reconnected his PlayStation through the app. By the time he got back to his room and turned everything back on, it showed full bars and a perfect connection. Weird, he muttered, loading the game back up. He got into a new match, and I waited. Let him play for maybe 3 minutes, just long enough for him to get invested and start talking strategy with his friends. Then I disconnected him again. Are you kidding me? He screamed. This time he restarted the PlayStation completely, checked every cable, even ran a connection test that came back perfect, because I'd already reconnected it while he was troubleshooting. I had to bite my lip to keep from laughing. This became my thing. Not every night because that would have been obvious, but whenever he'd call me names or talk to me like garbage, I'd wait about 20 minutes and then start the disconnects. Random enough that he couldn't figure out a pattern. Sometimes I'd do it 3 times in one night, sometimes just once and then leave him alone for a week. The best part was listening to him explain it to his friends. Dude, I don't know what's wrong with my connection. It's been doing this weird thing where it randomly drops for like a minute and then comes back perfect. I've reset everything, called the internet company twice. They said everything looks fine on their end. His buddy Jake suggested it might be the PlayStation itself, so Trevor went out and bought a new Ethernet cable. $50 for this fancy gaming cable that was supposed to be more stable. Didn't help obviously because the problem wasn't the cable. I almost felt bad when he spent the money. Almost. One Saturday he was playing with his friends and losing pretty badly. I brought him a sandwich I'd made because I was trying to be nice, and he literally swatted it out of my hand without looking away from the screen. Just knocked it right onto the floor. Didn't even apologize. Just said, "Not now," like I was a dog begging for attention. I disconnected him 4 times that night. 4 times. By the end, he was convinced something was seriously wrong with his PlayStation and started looking up new ones online. The PS5 had just come out and he was talking about spending $500 to fix his connection problem. That's when I realized maybe I should stop before he actually bought a whole new console. But also, he'd called me a bitch 6 times that week, so part of me thought he deserved to waste the money. The relationship ended a few months later for obvious reasons. On my way out, when I was packing my stuff, he was complaining to his friend about his PlayStation acting up again. I thought about telling him. Like, for half a second, I considered explaining that every single connection issue for the past 4 months had been me with my phone. But then I remembered him knocking that sandwich out of my hand and decided he could live the rest of his life thinking he had the world's most unreliable gaming setup.